Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
Brad, you're walking on water. You are Beer Jesus.
I'm the Beer Jesus. I just want to say, this is probably one of the best experiences of my life.
For the last 7 years, Brad and I have been travelling the world hunting down the best breweries and beers, as well as searching out the most amazing places to enjoy them.
Drink it in!
We've met homebrewers in the Arctic to help judge at their beer competitions. We've witnessed the pure insanity of China's own Oktoberfest. We've got lost deep inside the mazes that make up Czechia's lager cellars. We've travelled halfway around the globe just to taste the best IPAs fresh at source, and lots more besides. These adventures have taught us amazing things about beer, brewing, people and the environment, and how they all come together to create a culture we've fallen in love with. So join us as we explore the world through the medium of beer. Meeting master brewers, digging into beer history, brewing collaborations, and trying to act sober against all the odds. Through our travel documentaries, beer school episodes and sofa sessions, we'll teach you everything you need to know to enjoy beer at its best and to appreciate the wonder that is the world's favourite alcoholic drink. We're here to show you that at the end of a long day, all you need is love and beer. Welcome to the Craft Beer Channel. That's right, my friends. 5 months since our last live show, and we have not got round to making a new intro video to our live shows.
What a little tear to my eye now, Johnny. It's amazing, isn't it? It's always great looking back at all the brilliant stuff we've done.
It's, yeah, I mean, it is kind of magical. And just that music, I mean, I listened to it a million times while making that New England documentary, but it's still just a beautiful little bit of elevator music, isn't it?
Yeah, what's his name? You love that guy.
Otis McDonald, my friends.
That's
I reached out to him on Instagram to say, hey, man, we use all your tracks. And he just gave me a thumbs up. That's all I got.
Well, I guess we're pretty niche compared to some of the people that are maybe using his tracks.
Perhaps.
I don't know.
Perhaps. Anyway, this isn't about me not meeting my heroes. This is about you meeting one of yours, which is the wonderful Jack Baron of Baron Brewing, and he'll be joining us in a couple of minutes. But beforehand, we obviously have to go through how this show is going to work. We've got some exciting news to impart, and we've got a beer to crack. Should we start with that bit?
Dude, I'm really gagging for a beer. A baby beer, bear beer.
Baby beer. So this is the drinking order for tonight. We'll be starting with this beauty here. And we will have Jack explain this beer before we move on when he does come online. But the joy of this is it's 500ml cans.
Yay, big boys.
Cans. So we can get on with this. While we impart our news and pour these beers, I'd love to hear where you are in the world, what you're drinking tonight, if it's not obviously drinking along with us on this live show, and anything else you want to tell us. Tell us what snacks you're having with it. I've already seen in our Patreon Discord forum some pretty epic snack collections going on. Have you got any snacks with you, Brad?
I've got zero snacks, Johnny.
Yeah, I've got zero snacks.
But our friends of the show, Ben and Jen, they're having snacks for tea, which I'm really into.
Like breakfast for dinner, snacks for tea.
Love it. Hi, guys.
Like
Happy New Year.
Melon. Oh, my God. Delicious. And it's a very reasonable ABV, right? That's why I picked it first.
4.
I can find every bit of information you need except the ABV. There we go, 4.2. Cool. Right, let's dig into all this. I've got notes, Bradley.
I haven't got notes.
We're going. I assumed you wouldn't. So yeah, this is live show number 39. Can you believe it? We've got 11 live shows to make one special for 50. And I'm going to say it right now. It's not going to happen.
What, 50 is not going to happen?
No, 50 is going to happen. These are monthly live shows, Bradley. It's only 11 months. No, me doing a new intro isn't going to happen for number 50.
Oh, the intro. Right. To be honest, I was watching it and I thought, oh, wow, Johnny's done a new intro this week. It was fresh.
It's been that long.
It's an absolute classic. That's why I think.
I think the bit where I say, like, we've got 70,000 subscribers or whatever it is I say, bit of a giveaway that it's a bit old. Okay, so what have we done? I'm going to look at my notes. We have Cracked Baby Bear. Tick. Welcome explanations. Yes. So, obviously, we'd love to hear from you in the chat. But if you feel like we're ignoring you, if your message can't quite get through, or if you just want to support the channel and say you love us, you can do a super chat, which is super simple. You just pay a little bit of money that goes direct to the chat. Well, Google take a little bit, and then the rest comes to us and helps support what we do. And you can do that by doing a super chat. Dead simple. Is it at the top or the bottom of the either the top or the bottom of the chat section of this video? And we will stop whatever we're doing, not mid-sentence, but at the next opportunity, and read out your comment, answer your question, sing you a song, read a poem, whatever it is that you require of us in that super chat. I've made that sound a bit niche and weird now, but that is the plan. We have our drinking order up here now. We will be talking about all of the beers that came in the Baron box, but we're only going to drink these 5 specifically. We recommend that you do the same. Probably you've drunk the others anyway, but we wouldn't recommend drinking all 8 in one night. If you're doing it, let us know.
Easy of a comment, Johnny.
Oh, okay, yeah, hit me.
Have a look at this. Get your laughing chops around that one.
I have a board shorts to drink later. Currently drinking my first ever Alchemist beer, Focal Banger out the can. Last beer I drank out of a can was a Stella. That's fair. Let us know. I would suggest pour a little bit into a glass, keep a little bit in the can. Let us know if the whole drink from the can thing that's around the rim of all these beers makes any difference whatsoever. Where was I? Yes.
Super chat, Johnny.
Oh, my goodness me.
A super sticker.
I forget that we have more than one person to derail my desperate attempts at keeping structure to these things.
Rockin' Watson. Thank you.
Super sticker. Thank you very much. Tell us about your turkey, Rockin' Watson.
Very interesting. Is it a turkey or it's got more like a flamingo head? But I guess it is a turkey, right?
Could be a vulture.
Vulture. Yep. That makes sense.
Big difference between a turkey and a vulture.
And a flamingo.
And a flamingo, yeah. Maybe it's all 3. Maybe it's a fleur. No, haven't got it. In an hour's time, I'd have been able to do that. Right, so yes, we've got a drinking order. We will also be doing a brewery tour about halfway through the show. And, of course, doing a Q&A at the end of the session. So if you haven't got your question answered during the main show and you can't or won't or don't want to do a super chat, hopefully during the Q&A we will have time to get to it, and that Q&A will start about 9:30. We'll aim to finish at 10 and inevitably miss. You can join our Discord forum. It's the final thing. So that will be popping off all throughout this show with our good friends who support our channel all chatting away in there as well on our Discord. For £2 a month, you get access to our Discord. You get early access to, say, our festival, which is going to be happening this year, potentially discounts from our other Patreons and all kinds of great things going on. And at higher levels, you get a Christmas present. You get a beautiful hand-printed screen print.
Yeah.
What's the word? Letterpress. So letterpress. Yeah, that's everything. Should we talk about some news?
Sure. We've got confirmation it's a vulture, Johnny. That is a vulture. Bulky Vulture Brew Co. Wonder where they're from.
Is that your brewery or just your favourite brewery? Again,
yeah, my brewery. You're talking.
I don't know why I keep asking that as if they can reply immediately. Let's start with the most exciting news, which is that pretty much today it was confirmed, around about lunchtime, I think I messaged you, Brad, that Keep Cask Alive 2 is happening. This year, it has funding. We have essentially crowdsourced across 6, possibly more companies within the beer industry, and we'll be announcing them in due course. But they have all come together to support the cask beer industry, to support our series, and also our campaign to get UNESCO to recognise cask ale as intangible heritage. So we're going to have a 5-part, fully budgeted, absolutely beautiful series coming at you mid to late September is currently the plan. So that has been an epic amount of work already, but we're very, very excited to bring that to you. There's also a possibility, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so please put it in the comments. We could do with a little bit more funding to get like a cameraman we want to have, and some other different bits. We're considering a bit of crowdfunding from our fans. So if you would be up for that, and in return you would get access to a little festival / cask beer conference we're going to host right at the end of the year. Do let us know if that's something you'd be interested in.
Whoa, Johnny, you missed the most important thing you get. You get a producer credit at the end, or some sort of credit at the end of the film.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many producers you can have, but certainly...
Let's hope we get hundreds, Johnny.
We'll make you all executive producers at the end of the videos. So yeah, that is something we're considering doing, just to make sure we've got the money to pull this off. So let us know if you'd be interested in that. But either way, Keep Cask Alive will be coming. It's just how great we can make it. Thank you very much, Pack for Life 88.
Very good.
That's good to know. I announced a book this week. Wait, where is it? Where am I? Right here. During the toilet break halfway through the show, you will be forced, Clockwork Orange style, to watch an advert for this. But this is my new book. Comes out in November, but there you go, Brad's doing it. You can pre-order this now. It's out in the UK and parts of Europe on the 7th of November, and in America at the same time, and slightly later in other nations. But it's about how beer changed the world. Did you know that the fridge was invented for beer? That we discovered the very concept of antiseptics because of beer? The pH scale was invented for beer? Do you know why St. Pancras and King's Cross are next door to each other, Bradley?
Beer.
Full story in here. So that was news this week.
I bought some scaffolding at the weekend, Johnny, off a guy that was ran a refrigerator company. I can't remember what they were called, but I said to him, "Oh, did you know Budweiser basically invented the modern fridge to transport beer around America?"
You said Budweiser.
Well, it wasn't Budweiser, was it? It was like someone with Budweiser. Huh?
Spartan.
Oh, was it Spartan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't
there for 2 hours at the top of the Spartan Tower.
Yeah, we did. I can't even blame being pissed. Anyway, he didn't agree with me, and he said it was some other company.
Oh, he'd have said, oh damn, what's the name of the guy? The guy that invented like the consumer fridge. Basically, he put a box on top of what Carl von Linde invented.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name, but it'll come. But he basically invented like what we have at home, but you couldn't have done it without Carl von Linde's massive fridge.
Yeah. So I thought of you when I was buying that scaffolding, Johnny.
And you were like, "Curse you for not giving me all of the details that I needed to argue with this man."
And I got them wrong as well, so there you go. Buy a book like me so you can learn.
Yeah, exactly that. And the other thing we should talk about is the beer festival.
Hell yeah.
Which is happening on the 14th of September. That's a Saturday. It is Love and Beer Mark II. There will be lots of amazing breweries, but also lots of amazing home brewers there. So we've teamed up with the Malt Miller, the sponsors of our podcast, to deliver a festival that is exactly the same as last year, with more chances to like rub hops, taste malt, talk about yeast, and also the chance to go into a homebrew tent where some of the UK's best homebrewers will be competing for your love and adoration by serving their absolute best beers, and you get to vote on which of those will get to make a commercial batch of a beer. So it's going to be great fun. Lots of free pours of homebrew and mostly paid pours of commercial beers, but also a free pint on the way in, as always.
Hopefully, we're going to have some pretty sexy glassware as part of the ticket price as well. And
Absolutely.
maybe a tote, Johnny. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think a tote. I think a tote and a glass and some snacks.
Yeah. It's like a value added, and we'll have some old friends there from last year, and some new ones.
Absolutely, it's going to be great fun. So make sure tickets will go on sale in the next couple of weeks. Patreons first, and then we'll give it out to the general public. But don't miss out. Put the 14th of September in your diaries. Noi. Was that everything?
I've got a question here.
Oh yeah, go on then, hit me.
Very important. That Love and Beer print behind me, Ben. That's a little photo frame from Dunelm, and it was about £4. I can't remember what it's called, but it's black metal. It fits it perfectly, and it's got it's like a black metal frame with like a wire black metal frame in front of it. It's a little bit kooky, but it looks all right.
Looks great to me. Go on, Dunelm. Johnny's gone all pixelated. Apparently, did I go pixelated for a bit?
You were a bit pixelated.
Oh.
I didn't want to break your pixelated flow.
Okay, hopefully that was just.
It sounded great though. I think we did to me anyway.
Okay, well that's I'm using our podcast microphone, no expense spared. Right, we'll just dig into the comments and say hi to everybody, and then we will get Jack on. So Kavindra is joining us from 3 a.m. I would say 3 a.m. is too late for a beer than too early.
Wow. So that's 3 a.m. on Saturday morning, right? Because you guys are ahead in the Southern Hemisphere, I believe. I hope.
Well, it's not the hemispheres that matter, it's the...
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about, Johnny.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't, does it? It's what meridian you're in, right?
Yeah, the longitudes. It's how far around the world you are, not how far around.
Yeah. We've had a super chat,
and I know that Brad knows it. Right, looks like everybody is very happy to
super chat, Johnny. Super chat.
Oh my goodness, really? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
You saw my robe at the festival.
Are we all wearing robes?
I thought that was obvious.
Sweet. Nice.
That's why you've been working on the new robe merchandise.
The kind of embroidered robes. Yeah.
Where you can just slip the cyanide pill into this little pocket.
They really tie the festival together.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Okay. I think it's time to bring Jack on because otherwise I'm going to finish this delicious beer. So you will know this man from such videos as that one we released a couple of weeks ago about Baron Brewing. He is a one-man band. He is a wonderful brewer. He is the one and the only. I'm stalling because I need to get rid of this banner. The one, the only, Jack Baron.
Hey.
Nice to see you.
Very understated entry. I liked it. Jack, how are you this evening?
I'm very well. How are you both?
I'm exhausted already. I'm not going to lie.
Good.
I've forgotten how intense these live shows are, but maybe I should have just got rid of the notes.
Yeah, that's.
I broke the pinter, Bradley.
Oh shit.
Right. Well, Jack, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for brewing a beer with us.
Not at all. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for asking to do one. It's brilliant.
Thanks for the hat as well, Jack. I did skank a hat off of you
hat.
when I came over. I wear it a lot. I've worn it in some videos as well, so it's paid for itself, I think, at this point. Hopefully,
it's a world famous hat. The most used hat in craft beer at the moment, I've heard.
Right. Well, let's get a little bit of a story from you because there might be people that haven't watched the video or don't remember it. It'd be great to hear a bit about your background before Baron and how you ended up in it, and then we will dig into Baby Bear.
Sure. Well, I've been a brewer for about 11 years, sort of. I studied the brewing and distilling degree in Edinburgh, and then graduated after 4 years. 4 years of studying brewing, which like time to graduate after 4 years of the books. You're like, please.
I want to brew some.
Yeah.
Do you get to brew on those? I've never actually asked somebody about the Harriet Watt course. Are you brewing and producing, or going out to breweries and making stuff, or is it very theoretical?
It's very theoretical. It's probably changed a lot in the last 10 years because it certainly the course got a lot bigger. But when I was there, we did there's a brewery, a proper brewery on site. I can't remember how big it is, about 4 or 5 barrel kit in the university. So you do a bit of brewing there. And then we did little placements in little breweries, sort of days out. Everyone actually on the course, there were 15 of us in my year, and everyone knew much more about beer than me. Most of them were a bit older and had worked either sort of homebrewed or worked in a brewery in some way, and I'd never done anything like it because I was only 19. So I knew nothing. I was really, really, really like very beginner. But no, it was a very good course. It's just a bit. I think things have changed because not all of the stuff we were doing was that relevant for like actual day-to-day brewing. But it's a really good way of getting into the industry. And now it's a much bigger course because everyone wants to get into beer because beer is cool now, or it's really uncool. Like it's both.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's ridden that crest and now it's coming back down the other side.
Yeah, maybe it's the least cool thing you can do with your time. It probably is actually, but it's great. It's not cool, but we love it.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So you did that course. Where did you go after that?
I worked in only big cask breweries, so really nothing like what I do here. I worked in most after I graduated. Most of the time I was in a brewery called McMullen's in Hartford, which is much more traditional. And that was nice. Learned the traditional methods of brewing beer that's got 200 years of heritage, and then I was there for 3.5 years, and then graduated. And then COVID hit, and then I was on furlough and thought, let's do my own. That was the thinking at the time. There wasn't much of a plan except for if I'm not going to have a go at making my own brewery now, when am I going to do it? So
because I guess you were being paid to do almost nothing, so you were like, well, now's the chance.
I might as well use this free money to fund a ridiculous hobby that's gotten a bit too big now. But no, I'm one of the only people who had a positive outcome from COVID. I think everyone else had a horrible time, and I sort of used it as a springboard into my own business. But it would never have happened without COVID.
Well, we on the Craft Beer Channel had a slightly similar experience in that I think a lot of the success that we've had in the last 3 or 4 years has been based off the fact that during lockdown we got into homebrew and we started these live shows, and those have been two things that have been huge for us, really. So you're not alone in finding light in the dark, and hopefully we provide some light for people now to say thanks.
For sure.
Baron, you live on like a family farm, and you built Baron on that farm yourself, right?
It's weird when people call it Baron because the brand is so strange because it's just my surname, so it feels really like when I talk about Baron as a thing, it's like it's just it's my name. So I find it really hard to talk about the name of the brand. But it's my dad and my brother own the farm, and I sort of quietly asked them if I could set up a brewery, what they would think about that. And I think it was like I'd always wanted to do it. It just never seemed like it was feasible because it's such a huge undertaking, and you've got to spend a fortune before you've made any beer. And I just read. All I was doing for months was just researching people who'd had a go at it, and you just hear horror stories. So people only report the horror stories as well. They don't report, oh yeah, no, it's going okay. So it was quite scary, but I had a plan I didn't want to create a huge brewery and have, throw $1 million at it. It was never going to happen. So I had to start small. And I tried not to waste any money on anything. So I had the advantage of being on a piece of private land, so I don't have to pay any rent, which is huge benefit, because most people who start a brewery, they spend 8 months on getting set up and spending loads of money on rent and utilities and everything. So I was lucky with that. The electricity is quite cheap because we're on farm power, so that helps as well. So I was like using all of the benefits of being on a farm to make my life easier at the beginning. But yeah, I was thinking of doing trying to write a blog about how to set up a brewery, but I realized how many advantages I had just from having a location in the first place, that it wouldn't be a representative. It's just I know I'm very lucky that I'm in this position to be able to have a go at it. But you have to play the hand you're dealt, don't you?
100%. What's farm power? That's making me think of desert power from June.
It's not the rate is just quite low because it's on the farm.
Just a different rate. Okay. Still sounds pretty cool. Farm power.
Yeah, I think that's a name for a beer coming up.
There you go.
I think we talked about this when we came to see you, but you grow barley on the farm, right? We
grow wheat and oats on the farm.
Wheat and oats.
So both can be used. I'd like to. I don't know what the rules are so much about using grain straight off a field, putting it through a mill, and chucking it in a beer. I'm sure you could get away with it, but with the traceability of all the things you buy being quite important in brewing and producing food stuff, I want to play do the right thing. But yeah, it would work and it would save me a fortune. So I might start, just experimenting on a small scale. If I add in some of the wheat straight off the field, how that would
work.
You
just use raw wheat rather than malt it, or yeah.
I reckon so. Yeah, because it would come straight off the field. It's into the barn that the brewery is leaning against, and then I could just, as long as it's dry enough and it'll crush. I've got a little mill, like a home brewing mill, and then I can just have a go, see if it works. But yeah, I wouldn't do anything fancy with it. Just use it as a raw, and a tiny addition, and see if it improves anything. But it'd be half of the story would be like, oh, it's nice to say that you use grains grown on the farm. Such a nice story.
It is, isn't it? The way it used to be back when the saisonniers were begging for saison in the fields of France.
Very important question, Jack. Can you drive a tractor?
I think you watched me drive a tractor when you were here. I don't know.
We sure did. Was that a tractor or was that like a sort of pickup thing? You picked something up.
Yeah, it's a JCB telehandler. So yeah, I learned to drive in a tractor because you can legally drive a tractor on the roads a year before you could drive a car. So you could take a tractor to the pub at 16 on your own.
Brilliant.
Well, if you do that through Deptford, Brad, you'll be stopped. Just in case you're thinking of it, Brad.
I'm going to get a mini sit. I've always wanted one of those little mini sit-on tractors. So there's a lawnmower count, a mini sit-on lawnmower. Actually, I mean, I'm way past 16 at this point, so it doesn't really matter. But I like the idea of driving one of those on the road.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's nice to be out. It sounds fun until you drive a car and you realise in a tractor you can go like 25 miles an hour, and that's not so. If you're trying to go anywhere,
yeah. I mean, I hate being behind a tractor on a country lane as well. It's like the worst, man. Absolutely worst. Yeah, bloody farmers. You have people turning up to your place in all kinds of vehicles, don't you? You were telling us some stories. I don't know if that's for air, but
yeah, it's weird. Like you've seen what it's like here. It's so rural. It's like the most rural it gets in the south of the UK. That tiny, like you have to drive down a single track lane with no visibility because the corners like that and it's hedges everywhere. When it's like a rural destination when there's grass growing in the middle of the road between your tires. And people are often turning up in tractors. There's a famous couple who live quite nearby who turned up on a horse and cart once, which was really nice.
That's what.
So that felt like, and we had your friends from another YouTube channel here that day as well. So and they were sort of watching everything. First, a guy turned up in lederhosen, and then this couple that were relatively famous turned up on a horse and cart, and it was like, what happens in the countryside? This is so not like Birmingham. What is going on?
It's classic Hertfordshire. Yeah.
That's never happened before. And then she put her horse the horse was just loose, just chewing on the verges outside the brewery. It was like a fairy tale. Very nice.
Like you say, it's super rural and there's a single track, but every time I've come to Baron, which like 4 or 5 times now, I've met somebody coming in the other way.
Yeah.
So it's just there's one car an hour, and I seem to pick the wrong hour.
I'm putting a petition in to put a dual carriageway right through the farm so people can get here nice and easily. And,
your dad and brother didn't see that coming.
Yeah, exactly. I could stab them in the back purely for my own gain. Yeah.
We've got some
busier than it should be.
Some farm themed jokes for you here. Dad jokes. I used to love tractors, but then I went off them. Guess I'm an ex-tractor fan.
Stuart,
thanks,
that's
Stuart.
Amazing.
Have you heard that one before? Or is that like...
You know what? That is brand new to my ears.
It's charitable.
Not told. It's never been told that well, so that was great.
The folks are in the house tonight.
Hey, I Planet Beer. Are you allowed to be on each other's channels? This shouldn't be allowed.
Actually, I was thinking Planet Beer TV. Like, we are planning a collaboration, and I've been crap at getting back to you, but we could also collaborate on a live show, right? That'd be a dead easy way to get things started. We could even brainstorm our collab on a collab live show. That was my thought when I was actually having a wee just before we started. Thankfully, M. Andrews is steering us back on course. Baby Bear, tell us about this beer.
It was the first of the Goldilocks series of beers. So the thinking was I would do 4 releases, and that way I could sell 4 beers at once. Bingo. And I thought, it was sort of a mixture between a marketing exercise, but also I wanted to do like a range of beers starting weak and going stronger. And then I wanted there to be a link that ties them. And I was chatting with one of the artists about it. And it's like, it could be cool to do like a nursery rhyme. Or what is that? Is that a nursery? It's not really a nursery rhyme, is it? It's like a children's fable.
Yeah.
What's the term?
I guess it's a fairy tale.
A fairy tale.
Yeah.
Is it a
Not
fable?
many fairies. I think fable.
I don't think there's always fairies in fairy tales.
But yeah, and then then we thought Goldilocks works well because then we can go down like a porridge theme, and then I can whack all of them full of oats. So they're all very silky and oaty. This is Baby Bear, and then also I wanted to change it up between each of the beers. So Baby Bear is just US hops, and then Mummy Bear is New Zealand hops, Daddy Bear is Aussie hops, and then Goldilocks is all of them. And yeah, I think it's a nice. This one's got Idaho 7 and Laurel and Citra in it, and they're all very different hops. It's like a triangle of weird flavors. So it's quite. Yeah. I think the Laurel's actually coming through more than I expected it to, and it's quite nice and flowery.
So Laurel's kind of it's like they call it super noble, right? So it's like a kind of spicy, herbal, floral kind of hop that you could use in lagers and stuff. Brewers tend to use it like to underlay, a bit like they use Centennial sometimes as well. It's just like this lovely base layer. But yeah, I think when I sniff that, I don't just sniff Citra and Idaho. There's something else there.
Yeah. Idaho 7
like
for me always comes out really, really sharp in my nose. And I can, it's like one of those hops you can pick out from, I find that I can pick it out from quite far away. But Laurel, I'm always sort of thinking of when I'm doing recipes, I'm building like Laurel is always, it's never going to be the peak. It's never going to be the main hop because it's a secondary hop. And whereas Citra, Mosaic, Idaho 7, they could all be like the big, the big hitter. So Laurel's a nice one to use as a secondary hop. And whether that actually comes across to everyone is hard to tell, but that's how I like to think of it when I'm doing the recipes.
Yeah, I mean, It's a really interesting one. When I homebrew as well, I sort of think along those lines. It's like, is this actually going to be discernible? But something doesn't always have to be discernible to be, important. Like Centennial is in so many recipes that people wouldn't ever really go like, oh, there's Centennial in that. But if you take it away, I think that was even in our hop documentary with Siren. I think it was the Race of Five, Bear Republic brewers saying exactly that. They were like, we've done it without We've done Race of Five without Centennial to see what would happen, and they said it was a very different beer, but equally, they're not quite sure what the Centennial's adding.
Yeah. And I think a lot of brewers use stuff like, I probably use more Centennial than any other hop. I never talk about it, but I use it so much in the hot side and so much sort of it's like a base layer in a song. It's like it's sort of this solid, relatively neutral citrus note that goes through everything.
And it gives you the key.
And it's brilliant, and it's a super, super delicious hop. It's like, Lightbulb has got, Simcoe's Centennial. Like, it's a brilliant pale ale, and like that's not that I'm stealing all of Verdant's ideas, but they're a pretty good place to steal from.
yeah. If you're looking for ideas, I think there was this whole about 2 years ago. This idea of survivables came up from YCH, like that certain hops, their character, their flavors, their aromas last through, survive the boil, survive the flame, the whirlpool. And I think Centennial was like crazy high in terms of survivable compounds.
I think the Centennial farmer must have written that chart, because Centennial bar was like that
paid for by
and then Mr. it was like Centennial. Everything else was like this. And I don't know. I remember looking at that. I looked at it for ages. Like, how can it be double as good as the next best option? And like,
I can see it.
I love it. I would like to be explained it more. I was explained it by the hop merchants, but I still don't understand how Centennial can be that.
There we go. There we go. It's right there.
Yeah.
Wait, Centennial right up there. And then all the hops we know and love and talk about. So Idaho 7, Mosaic, Citra, Equinox, Simcoe. You get to half the amount. Citra has half the amount of survivable compounds, supposedly.
Yeah, funny that. It doesn't seem to come across, does it? Like in the same, like you don't see also Centennial is like 20 quid a kilo and Citra is 35 quid a kilo. So you'd think if Centennial were that much better, it'd be like 60 quid a kilo. But no, I'd like to be educated on it a bit better.
I guess it's got to depend what those surviving compounds are. That's the key thing.
Maybe
it's all very well if it survives, but if it's fuggle earthiness that's all that's left, it's probably not the best hop to use. Nothing against fuggle, just if it's only the earthy element of fuggle coming out. Anyway, we said we wouldn't get too nerdy, and look at us talking about survivable compounds. Let's wait. I chucked my notes away, but now I'm regretting it. I've got a big question for you just before we move on to board shorts, Jack, because you announced some big news this week.
Have I? I have announced some news.
It's pretty big news that you're opening a tap room.
Yes. It is quite big news.
In Cambridge?
Yeah. It's still scary to talk about it because nothing's gone officially through. But our notice is on the wall in a place in Cambridge, and hopefully, if everything goes smoothly and no one objects to our application, then we'll be opening our own tap room, which is very exciting. Quite scary, but
no objections here.
Yeah, well, if you live in Cambridge, and I'm hoping that it doesn't upset any of the other places that I sell a lot of beer to in Cambridge, which is the thing that I'm more nervous of than anything. Because I really love because Cambridge has been the best city, because it's my closest city. It's been the place that I've sold the most volume of beer recently, and hopefully it just brings more love, more beery love to the city, because it's a city that's slightly odd with its craft beer. So it needs even more. I think there are a few really good bars, but for the size of the city, there could be more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cambridge and Oxford seem to have been a little bit slow on the uptake compared to cities their size.
Maybe they're too intelligent as people. They're just like, we don't need beer.
They're all like, we don't need 25 grams per litre. That's far too much. No. Diminishing returns from 7 grams per litre, don't you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Right, let's do board shorts, because genuinely, and we were saying this before we went live, it's one of the best beers I've had this year, I think. And I've drunk every can except for this one last one in the fridge. So folks in the comments, keep your questions coming in. If you haven't had this before, please do give us your first impressions in the comments, because we'd love to hear them.
Look at that beautiful artwork.
I'm going to make you full screen, Bradley. Hold it there.
My God, what a handsome surfer man. Look at those board shots. Bit too long for my tastes, but still a very good choice in shorts. Look at that. Proudly Craft Beer Channel Baron. Love it.
Jack, can you tell us who did the artwork for this one and what was the brief?
One of my oldest and dearest friends, Harry Wild, who you can follow on Instagram at Harry Wild. Oh, no, at Harry.Wild, I think. Harry.Wild with a Y. And he's a brilliant artist. I wouldn't be able to get him to do my artwork if I didn't know him, if I hadn't known him since he was born. But because he's my oldest mate, he's very kind and does lots of designs. But he flies much higher than my standards as a business person. I think he did a load of hoodies for like French designer brands, Celine and others, like sort of very, very posh stuff. And he does murals of amazing stuff all over he's just great. So
is he the Harry's of Harry's New Wheels? Is that the same Harry?
He's not. He did design that, but he's not the same Harry. We will get onto that, Harry.
So many Harrys.
Right, so in the unusual position on a live show, being able to talk about this beer from a creation perspective, but I guess our brief to you was, so we absolutely love short shorts. We thought it was a brilliant beer, but we did both agree when we were messaging that the 10th anniversary beer was just a little bit aromatically and flavor-wise, just a little bit flabby. It lacked a bite and a punch and a citric hit.
For sure.
So we had a chat about what we could do and threw some hops in the air and thought, we could just throw Citra in or something like that, or we could do something a little bit different. And you love Antipodean hops, right?
Yeah, I've always liked, particularly Kiwi, in more so than Australian. But I think I've always struggled a bit with Strata. I know you're a huge fan. And I really like it. I open the bags, and often I'm like, it doesn't hit me with any high notes at all. As most hops are sort of, you get some smells, and you're like, that's mostly it's quite grassy or earthy, but then you also get a bit of citrus. I don't get anything like that I get only weed, and I get like cheese and onion crisp. I get like Walker's cheese and onion crisps when I open the bag of Strata.
Right.
Which is nice. Gary Lineker would love Strata.
Let's send him a can.
But I've always thought that it is a hop on its own that I can't work it very well. And when we did Simcoe Strata with the previous beer, it was very nice, but I just didn't think it had enough zinc. Maybe I just didn't bitter it enough. That's probably it. I should have whacked a load of Centennial in there earlier.
There you go.
That was a nice beer, but it was all baritone and like tenor. There was no altos singing. It was like just low notes. And this beer is like full range of weird notes going on. I think it's actually bloody chuffed with this beer. I think it's damn tasty.
Me too, man. I just think, and lots of the comments are sort of, actually, I love this comment, sorry, from Dan B. It's like a tornado has picked up New England and dumped it on the West Coast. What it really reminds me of, and I didn't intend for us to go this far, but we kind of have, I think, with the raised sulfate and 43 calculated IBUs, it's gone very Alchemist. You know, it's like it's got that juice, but it's restrained and cut through by oodles of bitterness and nettle sting and like a kind of piney savouriness, which is probably a little bit cheese and oniony stratery character as well.
Yeah, sure.
I just love it. I would happily, this would be a fridge filler all year round for me. I drink it constantly. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty happy with it. I've only drunk, I haven't had that many American beers, probably fewer than 10 in the last few years, because it's quite hard to get like good enough fresh stuff. But yeah, I had a few Fireden's beers and Treehouse beers recently, and I was actually surprised that they are more bitter than our beers. The double IPAs from Treehouse are actually bitter. It's nice to know that we've sort of taken the New England. I don't know. I'm speaking massively generally, but it seems like we've taken the New England thing and completely turned it into no bitterness, just juice. And actually, a lot of the East Coast brewers are still adding a decent amount of bitterness. But I don't know. I haven't drunk enough. You've drunk loads and loads of them, so I don't know if you can tell me if that's complete nonsense.
No, I mean, well, Brad might disagree or back me up. I'm not quite sure, but I think you're right. I think there's definitely brewers that haven't done that. I remember when we did our hype train on Monkish, and we thought all those beers were a little bit thin and insipid and didn't have bitterness or real complexity. But generally, actually, Hill Farmstead also have almost zero bitterness to their New Englands. But yeah, Treehouse definitely do. Some of the other like big hazy sort of guys, Trillium always have. They definitely do. So I think that is because they're in their head they're coming down from like the arms race, bitterness race of West Coast IPAs. Whereas for us, because we didn't really have that in the UK, maybe we're coming from a little bit from like West Coast stuff, but also a little bit from cask bitters and from other things that would have been much more mild. So I think maybe as a nation, we're not as into bitterness as the Americans.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have most of the beers I buy or drink from other breweries in the UK that make similar stuff to me. The bitterness is so low. And I'm definitely not helping with that because my bitterness is very low. But it's nice to have beers from places that are really well reviewed, well received. That beers are still like twice as bitter as what double IPAs that are way more bitter than what we do. And I think it's an advantage to our beers by doing that, putting more bitterness in.
I like Luke Jones eating lime sorbet in an Amsterdam coffee shop. Is pretty good as well.
For sure. That's very nice.
Yeah. I mean, Brad, you haven't said anything. What do you think of the beer?
I was just I was just thinking then. I think I might have been to an Amsterdam coffee shop
and had a lime sorbet.
Well, not a lime sorbet, but I think they had like a lime cheesecake or something. I went to one of the smoky shops and they had this amazing rotating cake stand for stoners. It was pretty good.
Wow.
It was good. I think there was like, there's like a key lime pie or something, isn't there? There's a limey thing. Anyway, beer, fantastic. I love the comment that was it's like East Coast has been picked up in a tornado and dropped on the West Coast. It's got that bitterness that we've kind of lost these days, and I think it's really exciting to drink a hazy boy that's got some like proper pokey bitterness to it. I bloody love it.
Yeah,
I'd love this to be the future of IPA because beer constantly goes whoa in different directions. We went like 2,000 IBU IPAs from McKellar down to like Noibu, no IBU from Verdun. and maybe we'll end up in the middle somewhere here. But I think this is like actually next week, our next video, we drink beers from Burnt Mill, and one of them is called a Vermont IPA, and it's kind of this style, and it's inspired by the Alchemist, and in fact uses WHC's version of their yeast. But this is, I think, a little bit better and a little bit more Alchemist-y. I say in the video, John Kimmich wouldn't like this beer, but I like it. John Kimmich would love this beer, I reckon.
I honestly, it's incredible, and I think that's a really fair comparison. Saying Alchemist, it's hitting a lot of those same bases for me. It's massively heavy, and I feel like it's a real kind of experience drinking it, and that's probably because it's so different to a lot of the stuff that we can get access to over here. It's taken me through time.
This is very high praise. My head is getting too big from these comments. Stop saying nice things.
Make you bigger, and everyone can measure your head. I would make a pitch for you to, one or two of your IPAs each time you do, because you brew in sort of cycles. Maybe one of the IPA. Oh my god, one of the IPAs could be this style, like I don't know what you call it, mountain style, Vermont style, but we'll be pushing it. And actually, we are supposed to be doing a homebrew series inspired by Vermont IPAs. So I'm going to be using this, specifically the back of the can information, as the starting point.
It's like a Wikipedia page.
Not even going to WhatsApp you. I'm just going to look at the back of the can.
Got an important question here. Is there anywhere in Edinburgh that stocks Baron?
I think there's a place. Is it called the Beer Hive? I can't remember any of the places in Edinburgh. I haven't been there for about 6 or 7 years, but it's sometimes in, I think it's called the Beer Hive, which is a lovely place in Newtown, and I'd like to get it in. I think actually that I did see it in a Brewdog on Lothian Road, which I didn't know I sold to. The wholesaler sometimes sell to Brewdog, so that's nice. But it's nice to see it up in. It does do quite well in Scotland. I don't know why, but I think in little pockets around the country, you see little Baron pockets. It's very nice. But yeah, Glasgow as well. There seems to be quite a lot of it up there. I don't know.
I saw just to divert slightly, I saw a Brewdog advert today that they're doing singles dating nights now at Brewdogs.
Wow.
It's only singles that go to Brewdog now, so
they're going to be inundated.
I'd imagine they just must be desperate for women to walk through those doors at this point, given their reputation. Anyway.
No comment.
If you want to keep selling some
Brewdog, thank you.
Right, well, I'm a bit stuck because we should move on to Harry's New Wheels, but I'm enjoying this too much and I don't want to stop drinking it.
So hang on, are you going to be brewing this again? Can people still buy it anywhere? Is it totally sold out?
I've got a bit left on the website. Not as the packages, because I've run out of Goldilocks and Timmy and Baby Bear. So if you want a box full of board shorts, fill your boots. I've got loads of it. Actually, I've also got a beer called Fill Your Boots. So you can add some that.
If you want a box full of board shorts, fill your boots is a very confusing sentence as a result of that.
But yeah, there's I still got a few cases left. So but it's going very fast. We open up the brewery as a tap room at the weekends, and it's flying off the shelves. So yeah, and I maybe I'll brew it again one day.
Great.
Well, not before you've done. Wait, what are we on? Trousers?
Yeah, baggy trousers next.
Jumpers.
Jodhpurs.
We could do a whole outfit. We can have hats, jumpers, trousers, shoes. We've had a super chat from Mr. Rougelot. He says, as usual, I fear the answer, but any chance in the near future of finding your beers in the EU?
I don't sell on the export market, but some places sort of do it. They buy it in the UK and then they ship it out externally from the brewery. But I haven't seen any I've seen it in Hong Kong and Japan, but I haven't seen it anywhere in Europe. I would like to do it. I haven't managed to get my head around the paperwork of exporting beer, because it's like complete. It makes you not want to do anything. But it would be nice. The capacity is so small, so I can't even meet the small demand in the UK. So one day maybe. Depends if the UK stops buying my beer, because then I'll head straight to France and Germany. So like, maybe these guys will buy it instead. I don't know. But I'm afraid at the moment.
Saw breweries like completely drop out of Europe because it was just confusion and catastrophe. And now I've started to see it happen again, particularly to Scandinavia with the system bloggets and the monopolies. It's starting to move again. So I don't know whether it's getting easier, but maybe the distributors are starting to figure it all out.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're getting better and better at it.
Oh, Stuart, no.
That is a good look. Come on.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine
Budgie
what the image would be.
Is that?
Those are like speedos. Yeah, budgie smugglers, mate. I reckon.
So an Aussie table pale could work.
You do love Aussie.
Yeah.
We could do an Aussie, a Strata, of course. Strata Simcoe Galaxy, and call it Budgie Smugglers. Love it.
There you go. It's done. Right. Let's. We should keep this moving. Because we've got a tour to come next.
Oh God.
There was a comment I'll come back to. I think it was Kaveen. Yeah, I'll come back to Kaveen's comment in a bit. Let's grab Harry's new wheels, and you can tell us about that, and then we'll do the brewery tour. God, where are the wheels? There we go. In that profile, Jack's chair looks like E.T.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit. Elliot, I'll be right here.
You're going full screen.
Oh, I can do.
Yeah.
Don't know. You've got to be able to read sideways, guys. Just trying to look at that beautiful artwork. I love drawing bicycles. They're like drawing horses. They're incredibly difficult to draw.
Yeah.
So it's quite. These are really fun bicycles. There's some odd ones there. That one's particularly. Oh, I can't even get to it. That one there is pretty weird.
Is it? Do you think it's inspired by? There was some viral thing where it's like they asked kids to draw a bicycle from memory, and like the results were just incredible. Like, because it's so hard to visualize a bike. Even me, late 30s, keen cyclist, still look at some of these and go like, I don't know which one of these is right.
It's two triangles, mate. That's all it is.
I'm not sure Harry's.
We say that, but there's two triangles there, and that ain't a fucking bicycle.
It's fair enough, yeah.
Jen just loves the word bicycle.
Bicycles is a good. It is a good word, isn't it? To be honest, I like it too.
Sorry, we had a super chat and I got distracted. Jonathan Shaw is asking which breweries' beers excite you at the moment. You go first, Jack.
Oh God,
I'm going to make you main screen as well.
Choose from. I went to Phantom recently and had some really cool beers from them. They really go for it with their fermentation side. So I'd say that they're making some really cool stuff. They did a double IPA that tastes like peach yogurt, so that's exciting to me. There's just so many amazing breweries. How would you? You've had a few more seconds than me to think about the answer.
That's why I sent it to you first.
But after you, who would you say?
Well, obviously Baron.
Yeah, of course. Obviously.
After that, I think Two Flints are making magical stuff. Really, really strong, particularly on the West Coast side. Really enjoyed their West Coast IPAs. Yeah, I mean, Two Flins would probably be the top one for me.
Is your mind going to hoppy side only, or are you naturally going to who's exciting me in the hop world?
I guess I am because of what we're drinking this evening. I had some absolutely fucking magic beer from Utopian a couple of weeks ago. They had a recipe. I can't remember the name of the beer, but it was a heritage, an old recipe they'd found of a northern. It was a Dortmunder, a really old recipe for a Dortmunder. That had this mad recipe of like a 6-hour boil or mash or something. It was utterly absurd, and they just gone for it, and it was a really, really, really good beer. Like one of those lagers that if I was like judging it in a competition would get such low scores because it had like little hints of like foam banana, some definite kind of sulfur, like all these big fermentation character, but put together was just the most, incredibly crushable and drinkable beer, but also just loaded with character. And it's why, I do judge professionally and I enjoy doing it. And it's important that there are beer competitions, but sometimes judging beer is the worst thing you should do, because if you try to box it into this category, you start dismissing beer that is incredible. And that Utopian beer was amazing. And I think, they're pretty good at marketing themselves, but they don't get the plaudits that they deserve for like being exclusively UK ingredients, exclusively pretty much Czech style approaches and processes, and then digging into old German style recipes and stuff. Like they're doing some really unusual stuff that's utterly delicious, a bit like some Mars of the Desert up in Sheffield, who we still need to go see and make a film about because they're incredible. But like just doing stuff that is very traditional but utterly off the wall.
Yeah, for sure. It's both of those breweries being absolutely incredible at what they do, but that thing that they're doing just doesn't get the chat because it's it's not the cool thing of the moment. But both Belgian stuff up in Sheffield, and then Belgian influenced stuff is like it's a different world of weird, and most of us hoppy brewers are we're not brave enough to take on that sort of crazy stuff that they do. But Utopian amazing. I've always been a massive fan of their stuff. Don't get very much of it around here, but it is always a treat when you see it.
I have to order it from them, or they send out sort of press packs every now and then, which I gratefully receive. You don't, because in bottle shops, slightly weird lagers is never going to be a great sell for them.
They don't make a margin.
It's a really tricky business, and I'm delighted that they've done as well as they have, and that they can. I think locally they're quite well loved, like their British Pilsner and their Tenner lager. I think they do pretty well around Devon. But outside of that is a bit of a struggle, I think, for them. Everybody should be talking about it. Brad, you tell us. I'll flash up some comments of people who have also got suggestions.
Well, my camera stopped working, so I'm now on a webcam. Is that okay?
Yeah, you look all right. Yeah.
It just stopped working, so I haven't really been listening to what's going on. I've been trying to fix my camera. But, I'd have to say Baron are excellent. Two Flints, which you've already been talking about. Where did I go? I went to a pub the other day locally that have just opened a brewery down the road from me in Lewisham. The beer was okay, but I thought this is pretty cool that there's now a local one. It's called Firking Brewery. It was all right. £4.50 pints. I thought that was pretty good. Price point of view was quite good. I'm going to see Guns 2 Roses at that brewery / pub on Wednesday, which are the premier Guns N' Roses tribute band in the world. And I've seen them about 10 years ago with a few friends, and they reminded me today that they were so loud we had to wear pressure drop for sure. They reminded me today that we had to wear earplugs because it was so loud. And I didn't have any earplugs. So I went to the toilet and just stuffed wads of toilet roll in my ears. So yeah, I'm seeing those guys on Wednesday. So I don't know whether to take my noise cancelling headphones or something. I don't know. What does everyone think? What are the best noise sort of things for?
Buy some earplugs, bro, for like £1 on Amazon.
Yeah.
I think
Don't take expensive noise cancelling headphones.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
Look like
There's a Baron can art in that one.
Yeah. Well, you could do hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. There you go.
That's nice.
3 little monkeys.
Three little monkeys is a good shout. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Do you pay for the guys? I'll have to pay you royalties for all these ideas.
Yeah, and then you could do another one. You could do a monkey theme. You could do organ grinder, like one of those little monkeys that used to play the organ.
Stop! I need to write these down.
Organ grinder. You can watch that. What other monkey chat? Yeah, there's loads. I'll think of some more in a minute.
I don't get the final say on the names because I send the artists names and they sort of choose what they think looks cool, that would suit design. So I normally
send them a short list.
Yeah, I've sent like probably 10, no, maybe not, maybe 5 times as many names out as I've received back with designs, because a lot of them are crap, or a lot of them I think sound cool, but no artists like the sound of them. So there have been a few that I've been really, and actually I've had it the other way around where they've come up with a design or a name that I don't like, but yeah, that's fun.
What are the? Can you remember one you've turned down? I want to know what your parameters are.
Well, this has all come around really well. I'm doing I'm brewing a dark lager on Monday for my friend Brad. Not you, Brad. Different Brad.
Me, Brad.
And
Other Brad.
He has. He's been at my throat since before I started the brewery for 3 odd years. He's saying you should do a beer called Clint Down. And I was like, what does Clint Down mean? And it's like, it's just imagine Clint Eastwood putting up the numbers and letters on Countdown. I was like, right. Yeah, that's it. And he's really keen on this idea. And it's a one-dimensional, it's not even a one-dimensional joke because it doesn't mean anything. It's just 2 words smashed together. And he's like, yeah, do Clint Down. And I see this guy every couple of weeks. He's one of my best mates and he loves this idea of Clint Down. And it's now got to the point where I've like, it's actually working in my head now. And then he designed it. He's not an artist. He works for a coffee company, but he got Illustrator on his computer and he created a Clint Down image and sent it to me. And now it's there, and I've got to use this. So I'm brewing a dark lager, something also that won't sell. Name. I was going to say, so
you're like, well, that beer won't sell whatever I put on it. So yeah. Clint Down it is.
Can you describe the Clint Down artwork? Is it literally Clint putting letters up on a?
No, so it's Clint. It's Clint Down on the top in like the blue and white writing, as if it is on Countdown. And then it's a picture of Clint Eastwood. Admittedly, it's not picture perfect Clint Eastwood, but instead of holding a Magnum or not every shoots a pistol, he's holding a teapot, the Countdown teapot. It's actually come out really nicely, but it's not something that would get past the marketing department in any sophisticated brewery. But it got past my really strict rules of what can be on a can, as we've seen, is quite loose.
Is your friend a stoner? Does he watch lots of Countdown?
He's not a stoner. He's a coffeeer, so maybe that's the same sort of thing. He's just always buzzing.
He's just up all night because he's buzzing on coffee.
Yeah, he's the opposite, isn't he? Yeah, he's not spaced out. He just can't stop. Well, I mean, I'm going to be buying me some Clint Down. I feel like you have to be careful how you say it, but
also when you spell it, CLINT. It looks a bit worrying, and it's definitely going to get called something else. I don't mind. It's not deliberate. We only realised that after he started designing it that it actually could be a bit ruder than we intended it to be. But
you're gonna have Portman Group all over you.
I am. I'm a bit worried about that.
I actually watched a clip of Clint Eastwood today. This is going to sound like a lie, but it's true. Clint Eastwood in the 70s talking to the BBC about working with Sergio Leone for the first time to make a spaghetti western. And they wanted Burt Lancaster, I think it was, instead. Burt Lancaster wanted $25,000. Clint Eastwood would do it for $15,000. And they didn't know what he was like as an actor or anything. They just knew what he looked like his shape. And they sort of took a chance on him, and he made all these amazing spaghetti western films. Yeah, it was pretty cool to learn about that. But yeah, I love Dirty Harry. I love the Dirty Harry series. I think they're amazing films. Yeah, Lalo Schifrin did the soundtrack, like incredible soundtracks on them. 94. Yeah, 94. He's amazing that he's still going. Yeah,
he's a tall guy as well. Very long.
Yeah, long boy.
6'6".
Like your cans, a long boy.
He's a long
right.
boy.
So we picked this recipe. A couple of reasons. Firstly, lots of people are picking up the coconut. Oh my god, Bradley!
What?
And nobody said it in the chat either. I haven't been showing off my emojis.
Oh shit! I bet everyone's about that.
So, Baby Bear, I put orange, flowers, and mango. Board shorts. Why did I put weird? I put mango, lemon. Oh, that's supposed to be weed. I couldn't find like a spliff or a cigarette. So that's supposed to be your hot box in. Harry's New Wheels. Cherries, sweets, pina coladas, and coconut.
Exactly.
That's what I went for there.
Accurate.
Did I write that on the can?
You put cherries on that.
That's exactly what, because I think El Dorado, I don't use it very often, but it really gives me like jelly babies, like that. The jelly baby sweets, the smell of them, not maybe so much the taste. Because I snipped open a bag, I was like, oh, that's just jelly babies. And then HBC 630, is that the one that's on this? Yeah, that one just tastes like cherry jam. And then coconuts from Sabro, but it's a really weird mixture. And also, I thought when I first tried it after the board shorts, I was like, this is a really good example of the difference between an IPA and a pale ale. Like the decline in bitterness and suddenly it tastes watery. Like you don't notice beers tasting watery when you're going up in strength. As soon as you go down in strength, you're like, this is really watery and flabby. It's a nice beer, but it's not. It's just nowhere near the oomph as an IPA.
I think you're being hard on yourself to say flabby, but definitely, yeah, slightly more watery, slightly more thin, but kind of refreshing in that way as well. I think just the aroma difference. You know, everyone says that New England beers smell the same. You can't have these two beers together and go that New England IPAs all taste and smell the same. That's absolute fucking nonsense. They smell like different styles of beer.
Yeah, for sure. That the Sabro, there's only a small amount of Sabro in there. It's like 2 or so grams a litre. It comes across so it's just always there. And I was on the phone today with I only use one wholesaler and they deal with the UK. And Sam, who I talk to a lot, he really wants me to make a Sabro only IPA or double IPA. Like we're always talking to people in the trade and they're like, oh no, Sabro IPAs are horrible. And then when you ask someone to name a Sabro IPA, no one can really come up with like a Sabro only one. So he was like, do one, it'll be negative because it won't taste very nice. Actually, he thinks it'll taste lovely. I don't think it'll taste. I think it'll taste like Papa John's garlic dip. But I think if it were like 20 grams a litre double IPA, it's just Sabro, I think it would be vile. But it'll be an interesting experiment.
Put enough Centennial in, it might be all right.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a single hop Sabro beer because I just think it's too unique a profile to. Yeah, it will never feel balanced and enjoyable. It will just be, yeah, like you say, garlic, onion, and sun cream.
Yeah, it really would be like sucking on some Nivea sun cream.
Yeah,
and that's only good when you're on holiday. Maybe that's how it should be done.
Yeah. And even that's like, you know, it smells great, but if you like herbal essences, but you put it in your mouth, it's disgusting.
Yeah, but if you saw a Sabro double IPA, you'd probably buy it because you'd be like,
oh yeah,
I need to know.
Oh, I'd be intrigued.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, I'm tempted, but I'm on the fence. Is it a bad idea? It could be the best decision ever. I don't know.
It's definitely a terrible idea, but maybe we could film it. We could be like, Jack set out to make the worst double IPA he could, and he succeeded. That's a thumbnail and a title for sure.
Do you think there's any way it would ever taste nice? Can you imagine it being? It's never going to work, is it? It's just going to taste like cream.
Yeah, I can't see that working. I mean, but you know, Northern Monk can sell fucking Scampi Fry flavored beer, so why can't you sell one that's just Sabro? You know,
I think even Scampi Fries might be a safer option than Sabro on its own. I don't know.
Well, tell you what, if you made an all Sabro IPA and then just called it like Sun Cream IPA, which is what Northern Monk would do, might sell.
That is exactly what they would do.
How many grams per liter of
factor 50 is going in it. Yeah.
And video. Yeah, well, there's another series. You got factor 20, factor 30, factor 50.
That's a great idea. We come up with all the best ideas here. This is great.
Yeah, I noticed you're not writing that one down there, Jack.
No.
Right, let's. People are talking about Red Dead Redemption now. And yes, it does. And both of them are some of the best things that have ever happened in the history of pop culture. Everybody's loving this beer, by the way. I'm seeing very little Sabro hate, which is great because you can dislike Sabro. That is your prerogative. But if we want our beers all to smell and taste different, then we need lots of lovely, different smelling hops. Should we do a brewery tour?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
It's going to take 2 or 3 minutes.
We're doing the advert first and then the brewery tour. That gives us a chance to have a wee.
Do you need the wee first and then we'll talk?
We need a wee.
Okay, right. We'll do the advert first. So get the hooks out so that your eyes are open. I'm going to advertise my book for 1 minute and 17 seconds.
Oh God, it's a quick wee.
And then we are going to do a brewery tour. See you in a sec. Did you know that the first ever fridge was built for beer, not food? Or that surgeons learned that they should be washing their hands from somebody investigating sour beer? How about the fact that the Nazi Party was formed over pints in a Munich beer hall and that brewer's yeast might just be the solution to climate change? Intrigued? Well, then my new book might just be of interest. I'm super excited to say that my 4th book, The Meaning of Beer, is available for pre-order in hardback, ebook and audiobook at the links in the description box below, all for delivery on the 7th of November. This book has taken me more than 2 years of research, travelling and writing, and it's essentially a revisionist history of humanity, claiming that beer is our greatest invention, right up there with the discovery of fire and the creation of language. So as I say, the links are below. This beautiful book is out on the 7th of November in hardback, ebook and audiobook, and I would absolutely love to hear from you if you've pre-ordered it or if you want me to come to your town and do a talk, have a few beers when this book is released. Love and beer. We're all back in the room. I hope everyone had a wonderful time. What was I talking about? Not quite sure what that is in reference to, but nonsense, probably. Good at getting lots of lovely updates. So Stuart just took his iPad with him.
I thought he said watching on an iPod because my eyes are rubbish when I read that small. And I was picturing him on like a clicky scroll wheel iPod watching it. And I thought, how's he doing that? Amazing.
On an iPod shuffle without a screen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just really having a great time.
Just
having a week.
I don't know, but I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I'm sorry for talking nonsense. Right, brewery tour.
Yeah, I'm going to carry this little mic and do it on my computer, so this might not be very sophisticated. I'll do my best. Ooh, you can't really flip the camera around on a... There you go.
Going to be testing the strength of one arm.
Yeah. It's quite a straightforward, small setup. If anyone homebrews, this really is just a glorified homebrew setup. I will do a quick scan. There's 8 tanks, starting with the cold liquor tank, the large one over my shoulder. That's just a big cold liquor tank. And I come out of an RO, so I use reverse osmosis water. There's the pump down behind me. Oh God, I'm really not good at this. I sit down there in the dark. So all the water comes off mains. We've got very hard water in just north of London. So I strip out everything and then build it back. And I fill these 2 tanks actually, because one of them's a hot liquor tank, one of them's a cold liquor tank. Fill them with RO water. And then mash tuns here. I recently got this auger, which has made my life a lot easier. Grain goes, actually, Johnny and Brad, you mashed in with me last time you were here. So,
we did. We used that bad boy.
Chuck some grain in there, and it gets mixed up in this little box up the top, which I can't point to because I'm holding 2 things. That thing. And then,
was this was it fabricated for you? Bought secondhand? Where did it come from?
These two were the ones that look quite similar. Were made in Swindon, Elite Stainless. They make very nice kit. That's the same kit that Verdant started with. I thought that's a pretty good place to start. I bought this massive tank it was an old FV from a Cask brewery. I think they're in Worksop. Can't remember their name. Sorry, Worksop Brewery. And then I bought this. This is the work kettle. So after the mash tun, goes into the work kettle. Nice tall boy with a chimney. Yeah, that's a second-hand tank from a brewery in Oxford called Little Ox, which I've never had any of their beer, but I'm sure it's very nice. It makes for a decent kettle.
Does the shape of a kettle matter?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, good. Glad I asked.
I would have gone for something a bit stubbier. I boil everything quite a long time because I'm a bit worried that elements being right at the bottom, it's all on electric heating elements, it takes quite a lot of boiling to get all the DMS off. But also the benefit of it being quite tall is it was slim and it would fit in the brewery quite nicely. I use it as a whirlpool as well, and it pumps quite well as a whirlpool. And it has quite lavishly for this specific tank. It's not very exciting actually, but it's got you can come off the side at the bottom, so you can whirlpool, create a little cone of trub in the middle of the tank, and then take off all of the nice work from the side, which makes my transfer a little nicer. I've got a huge heat exchanger. It's gone the wrong way. It has the capacity for like a 50-barrel kit. This is a 7-barrel kit, so it's transfers nice and quick. And then, the best bit about the brewery, the best bit about the setup is that the cold liquor tank is exactly the right size. The cold liquor tank and hot liquor tank and the heat exchanger happened to be, I didn't know this at the time when I was setting it all up, but it all just works perfectly. So I use exactly the same amount of cold liquor to chill down a full batch of beer as I need for the next brew. So I don't waste any water, and it's all heated up to pretty much the right temperature. So I mash it. So I do 2 brews in one day because the water's back up to temperature pretty much straight away. And I've got 5 tanks. They're 11 hect tanks, so you get about 1,100 litres of beer out if I'm making a pale, and about 1,100 litres. If I'm making an IPA, more like 1,000 litres. And then I've got this tiny little tank at the end. It's about 600 litres. I get about 400 litres out of it because I'm normally making ridiculous beer in it. And that is the brewery tour. Oh no! And then this is the canning machine, which I was using today. So I got this from Bolton in England. Microcan is a company. Everyone who brews probably has heard of Microcan because they make very good kit. But it's a full, it's professional grade, or like the highest decent grade of canning machine, without it being
massive, so it's only 2 head filler. Yeah, works very nicely. Spits out about a can every 6 or 7 seconds. And then Johnny was helping me label. This is the labeler. And then I'm about to get a nice table that rotates at the far end, so all the cans collect in a nice circle, and I don't have to run around like such a headless chicken.
It's because you have to manually feed it, and then you have to manually, obviously pack it.
You look like one of those tigers in an enclosure walking backwards and forwards all day.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
But that's it. And then I've got a lab.
We did say at the beginning, Jack, but you are pretty much a one-man band, right? So you're brewing by yourself, you're canning, packaging, everything by yourself most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't sound like that sensible, but I've come up with just a system that works. So because I've got 5 tanks and the brew house is actually much better than I expected it ever to be. So I can brew a beer in about 5.5 hours. And then I can mash the next beer in about an hour later. So I can brew 2 beers in a day quite easily. So I can fill all 5 tanks in 3 days quite happily. And then I just monitor them for 2 weeks, add hops, do tests, but like it's not manual stuff for 2 weeks. And then I can do everything else that you need to do in a brewery. So we can open up a tap room. I have to do all the sales and the distribution and stuff, and all the paperwork. But then as soon as one beer is ready, normally they're all pretty close to being ready as well. So I package, the canning machine is great as well. So I can package all of the beers in 2 days. It's maybe 3 days. It's a really long few days. But as soon as the beers are packaged, I do a huge day of cleaning, like I did that today, and then I start brewing again. So I do like 7 or 8 insanely busy days of packaging, cleaning, and brewing, and then 2 weeks downtime.
What you're basically saying, you're a beer farmer, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
You're working your like plot of land here to the max. Do you get any sleep at all? This sounds like a sort of. You probably need the coffee from your friend, I reckon.
It doesn't. It's not that bad. I do find I have days when I'm in the middle of all that insanity of the brewing, the packaging, brewing, cleaning thing, and I'm like, I don't know why I do this. Why don't I just work in an office like everyone else? Because life would be easier. I could just sit at a desk and type and get nice and fat. It'd be lovely. But no, I love it. I love the buzz of it, and I like the creative side. I'm lucky that I'm the sort of person who likes doing it. It's certainly not for everyone. It's insanely manual and really physical, and you have to do a lot of because I love it, and I like the whole process, not just like the brewing. I like doing everything, and I think I'm a bit of a control freak. I didn't realize I was until I started this, but I don't like people helping, even people who offer to help for free. I'm except for you, Johnny, when you came, that was delicious. I really enjoyed your company.
Right, I assumed as much, yeah.
But in general, people, I'm so in the zone. I've got music blaring, and I just want to get on with it. And I work as fast as I can, and I don't waste any time like I used to when I worked for someone else. I just get on with it. I don't. So it's great. But I couldn't recommend it to people because you have to be the specific sort of person. Who knows how long it'll last? I've just turned 30, so when I turn 31, I might be like, I've had enough of this nonsense. I want a cushy manager role.
The knees do catch up with you, Jack. I'm not going to lie. I think Brad will probably stay silent here, but I too am a control freak and didn't realize till I took on my own business. And I also like to just get shit done rather than talking about it. And sometimes it's a wonderful trait and sometimes it's a terrible trait. But when you talk about it that way, I kind of envy the manual side of it as well as the control freak side, and just being like, if I've just got to do something, it's a physical thing and you do it. Whereas, with YouTube, it's like, oh, well, I've just got to edit this video, and then you sit at your desk for 3 hours. Not quite got the payoff.
There's a lot of sitting at the desk stuff with this as well, but it's all quite I quite like the break of everything. Like it's a nice split of work. I don't even mind. I do everything on Excel spreadsheets, and I don't even mind sticking numbers in them because they all mean something. I'm not wasting time. I used to work in a lab where you'd be doing loads of lab sheets and testing stuff. Sure, it was relatively relevant, but only 1 in 50 results was ever needed for the next thing. You're just creating state like I found myself redundant half the time. So I don't waste time doing stuff I don't need to do. And yeah, I don't waste time in decision making. I make all my decisions when I'm driving. And even like sometimes I'll know I'm going to make a 4.5% pale ale of some sort, and I haven't finished the recipe by the time I've mashed in. I'm like mashing in. I've got my salt. I know what salt's in my mash. But I'm like, I haven't even come up with the dry hop yet because I'm like, I know I want to get a pale ale in the thing, but I'm not quite there with the final bits. So it's nice that because you can turn on a really tight. Yeah, it works okay, but. Yeah, when you have to make decisions with other people, it slows. I find it slows things down.
Well, I mean, we were tweaking on the brew day, and you were very casual and calm and happy about that. You were good at working in a team as well.
Good. But, inside, I was boiling, and I was like boiling.
Like,
how's anyone? Can't do this. Don't tell me what to do.
Right, we're getting loads of questions about the brewing side coming through. And I don't want to miss them. Wait, where are the comments? They're down there. No, wait, I forgot where I am on YouTube. That way. Jesus. Let's crack Timmy, do a quick little intro to Timmy, and then we'll take some more technical brewing questions.
Cool. When you said let's crack Timmy, I thought that meant a person's question. I was like, let's crack Timmy's question first.
Let's crack open Timmy's views. Oh, goodness, Bradley, what have you done?
Well, I thought this is a better shape for the can, right?
Wait. So you do that. You can do the front.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can do the back.
Oh, look at that. It's almost like we know what we're doing for once. Amazing.
I don't know what Jack's going to show. Just his lovely face. Or the dog, if Timmy's about.
Oh, no, he's not. He's got a limp.
Oh, Timmy, what's Timmy been up to?
I did a beer called Limping Ox that was a lager a few weeks ago, and that was named after Timmy as well because he's often referred to as the Limping Ox. Always got a limp.
Oh.
All of the beer names are dogs, really.
As they should be. Did I go straight on your laptop, Brad?
Yeah, it did, yeah. Yep.
You chose the dark beer to
start. Oh, God. This is the problem.
Mine was overfilled, so yours probably was as well. It was filled to the very brim.
Right. Well, while Brad sorts himself out, I'll.
Laptops are waterproof, right?
No, I've learned.
No, it's not that
bad. Right. So this is your black IPA, which, holding up to my studio lights, has a red hue to it. So I am assuming that your philosophy on bippers is to go easy on the roasted character.
Yeah, it is. It's so weird to see. I was quite worried about the feedback from this beer, so I did look at the reviews, and it's amazing what the range of thoughts people think that a black IPA should be. From people thinking it should taste exactly like a hazy IPA, but dark, but not like taste like one, but look black, to it needing to taste like a stout with bitterness and hop and more hop character. So I didn't know where to pitch myself when making it, but it's somewhere in the middle.
I also to throw a third element into that. So when we announced what was going into the box, we got somebody I think on Twitter who was like, "Sounds like a nice box, except the black IPA, New England yeast with black IPA sounds disgusting." So he also didn't want any kind of element of juiciness, and I replied and said this was a style invented by the alchemist in Hill Farmstead, so
yeah, for sure.
They'd have been using their New England yeasts. So that's actually the origin of the style. No reply to my pedantry, unsurprisingly.
That's what you get for being a smart ass. You get no reply.
Smart ass never prospers. We actually, again, next week we talk about this with the Burn Mill video, but yeah, there's these two kind of camps of should it be almost like a very hoppy stout, export India stout kind of thing? Or should it be trying to be an IPA, but look at the color and there's a bit more kind of malt character and or a lot more malt character and depth. And I'd say you've kind of landed in between the two a little bit. It's like it's definitely got kind of coffee and dark chocolate for me, but it's quite subtle and there's lots of. I definitely get that mosaic coming through. What is HBC 586? Tell me about that hop or what you get from it.
It was quite a big. It was when it came out. It seems like Yakima Chief are trying quite hard not to give any of their hops names. Apparently, you're in a different tax bracket as a hop merchant when you're making HBC varieties of hops rather than naming them because you're in the experimental stage. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard from someone. Might have been you. I don't know. But HBC 586
sounds like it could be real.
Yeah. It came out a few years ago and was thought of as being the next mosaic. It's more sulfury than those, so it really does kick out like a nice sulfury, but it's got that sort of volcanic sulfur thing coming out. This has got quite a lot of it in it. I did a beer that was almost entirely 586, and it was a bit harsh on its own, but the plants are still quite young, so it might be that it just needs to do a couple more seasons and it'll start kicking out a really lovely flavor and get a nice name. They'll call it something really sexy as well. But it's one of those hops that has I'm always thinking of the premium, the top tier ones like Citra Mosaic, the ones that really are famous. It's got all the characteristics that make it like that. It's huge. It's so punchy and it works well. I think it will work well as a showcase hop. Needs a cool 586 is not cool sounding though. It needs to be called something like Oblivion or
whatever you come up with. HBC 586 sounds an awful lot like THX 1138, George Lucas's first movie. That's what I was thinking about when you were saying it.
Maybe they'll call it something after him.
It wouldn't be much different to all the other HBC.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
Which, sorry, to those at home that don't know, so HBC stands for Hop Breeding Company, and then the number refers to the hop variety that they are growing up. So it's an experimental hop, hasn't been given a name, hasn't been trademarked or anything. They're still working out whether they want to use it commercially fully. And it's a collab. The Hop Breeding Company is a collaboration between Bath Haas and Yakima Chief, who work together on this and co-fund that breeding program. I've been trying to work out what the aroma on this beer is, and I said I'm getting the mosaic, but I get drumstick lollies a little bit.
Who was it who did a drumstick lolly? Was it Vault City or someone did a drumstick lolly?
It's them or Northern Monk, I'd imagine. Yeah.
It's really confusing, isn't it? It's a confusing nose because you don't know what to smell. Like whether you, it's like having a coffee and a hazy IPA and doing this, and you don't really know what's. It's a very weird mixture of smells. It's quite fun.
I mean, I really like it because it's a really, really sweet aroma, but there is also kind of chocolate coffee kind of stuff. And then on the palate, again, it's that kind of dichotomy. But also with a kind of West Coasty, caramelty, and bitter backbone. It's a really complex, but also really silly beer. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was very nervous about this bit. It really did my head in making it because there are two dogs on the farm, Timmy and Tiggy. That's hence the sort of yin and yang thing going on. This is half of the yin and yang. And Tiggy was the same recipe, but light coloured malt, so hazy IPA, and it had the same hops. Timmy was darker, but I used the same yeast, which was saturated, and it wouldn't drop out suspension. This beer it looked like a mocha for 3 or 4 weeks, and I couldn't get it to drop. And I kept adding vegan findings over and over again, and be like up to the dosage rate that I should, and it just wasn't it. So which isn't a problem in a hazy beer because it looks nice. It looks like custard. But this just looked like a really horrible yeasty mess. And I'd already got the labels done. It was a black IPA. I'd already got the yin and yang thing. I'd already done the whole labels, and it was. It didn't look like a black IPA, and I didn't know what to do. So it stayed in tank for 6 weeks. Normally my beer's 3 weeks, so it went in for 2 cycles, and finally I lost about 350 liters out of 1,000 liters in gunk at the bottom, just trying to get it to clear. So there's a tiny batch in the end. So you're even luckier if you've got one of these cans because it's a very small batch. But not again for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cracking beer, like a really unusual black IPA. But yeah, really, really tasty. I enjoy it. Black IPAs are not. Sorry, go on.
Well, if you were on that scale of where you think is a black IPA should sit, are you sort of somewhere in the middle with your preferences, or do you like it to taste like a Westie that's a bit dark?
Do you know, I fall on what they call in the Pacific Northwest the Cascadian Dark. That's where I'd want it to be, and that was sort of like a 5.5%, very dry, roasty but hoppy beer. So not like an export India Porter, which will have sweetness and smokiness and fruitiness, but like almost like a Schwartz beer that's over hopped.
Yeah,
that's the kind of black IPA that I really like to drink, and I don't really see the point of one that's got the colouring but not a lot of the flavour. And equally, I think that if you really really roasty up a black IPA, you have just made an East India Porter. So I think this is interesting because it's somewhere in between the two, and actually tastes a little bit like the black IPAs I had in Vermont. Maybe this is a little bit kind of sweeter and juicier. So I really enjoy this. But black IPA, I've written articles about it for Good Beer Hunting, actually, because it's a fascinating cultural thing, because it just shows how styles are both meaningless and incredibly important. And also how people just disagree about what beer should taste like, and how, as objective as we want to be, beer is still subjective, and what people want from their beer is still entirely down to their personal experience. So I've written a lot about it, but I don't necessarily particularly enjoy black IPAs. But I really quite enjoy this one. And you know, I'd love to see a batch 2 of this, because I reckon some little tweaks and it could be a really great and interesting beer. And my tweaks will obviously be different to yours, but I think it's got a lot of potential.
We've had a super chat. I didn't want to break the flow.
Go, hit us.
Hi guys, great show. Cracking beers as always. Jack, is there one hop you haven't used yet that you can't wait to try?
Oh, it's Simon. Hi, Simon. I know Simon. He lives in my one of my local towns. I'm quite tempted to have a stab at some Sriracha Ace. Going back to the beard. No one likes Sriracha Ace. It fell off the sort of the cool bus. But I'd quite like to bring it back. I don't know if you've had any Sriracha Ace beers recently. I haven't seen any around. I
wasn't aware it was still available.
It is available. It's weirdly, it's always contracted out when I see it on the lists from hop merchants. It's like, who the hell is someone that must be making like an amazing beer and not telling anyone about it, and the secret is Sriracha Ace, because I can't think anyone would want to have Sriracha Ace on contracts.
Because that was the original coconutty boy, right? That was
the Dylan Coconut, OG.
I assumed it was no longer available, and that's why nobody used it. But damn, if it's still around.
It might be that the hop merchants are too embarrassed to say that it didn't work, so they're going to contract it out instead of we don't make it anymore. We've killed all the plants. I don't know. But yeah, that would be cool. I don't know if there are any hops that I haven't. I've heard that Peacherine is like the new Nectaron, which I've just done this double IPA with Phantom, and they use some Peacherine. The beer did taste like I said earlier, it tastes like peach yogurt. So it might be. I think it's more yeast esters than anything. but that'd be cool. But there's always cool hops coming up. I'm always there. Like as soon as the hop merchants send out, they send out mailers quite often saying, "Oh, we've got a new hop coming out. Would you like to try it?" It's like, yes, give me 20 kilos now. I want to be
whatever it is.
That guy who's got a weird. There's a HBC 1019 that I've got that just arrived the other day, which I'm going to do. Apparently is in the sort of Neo-Mexicanos category of Talus and Sabro, and might taste stupid again. So that might be fun. I might do a really. I'll open the bag and see what it smells like. But assuming it smells like it could be used in a beer and not taste horrible, I will use it in excess.
Right. Well, I'm excited to see where that beer lands. We've had a deliciously passive-aggressive comment about when the 9:30 Q&A starts at 9:45. So let's move on to the Q&A section. Thanks, Stuart. So now, I mean, essentially, it's been a Q&A all evening. So it's been very fast and loose, and that's been great. But if you've got any questions, could be for me, for Brad, for Jack, for all three of us, send them in now, and we will dive through them, answering as quick as we can. As soon as I finish this last 2 centimeters of beer, we'll get the Goldilocks out. We'll do a quick intro to that. And then we will try to finish at 10:15. Clearly 10 is not happening. So yeah, if we've missed your questions throughout the evening, our humble apologies, but now is your time. For those interested, Timmy, I put chocolate. That's supposed to be caramel, not honey. Orange, because what was that, Idaho 7? Yeah, but actually it was juicier than that, and then mango. But yeah, if you want to buy my book, there's the links, tinyurl.com, year and beer, meaning a beer. If you want to buy our merchandise, go to tinyurl.com/CBC merchandise. Somebody can tell I've just invested in a premium account on tinyurl. Please do use the super chats to support us or join our Discord. Otherwise, it's Q&A time. Where are we? Oh, God, they're all already coming in already. Right. Oh, Jack's changed into ET for a second. Is there a question for you or me, Bradders? No, he's back. He's back. Okay. You've got a question here from Lynn. As a small brewery, do you use the same strain of yeast for all your beers?
I use all dry yeast because I don't use any. Yeah, it always comes dry, and I use mostly saturated from WHC. But I'm quite keen on trying out new stuff. So yeah, all sorts of weird stuff, but always dry.
Would you do a single hop experiment with a new hop?
Yeah, assuming it's not in the Neo-Mexicanos category, like this one that's just arrived, because it'll taste like, Talus or Sabro both don't work on their own at all. Talus is even worse. But yes, absolutely.
What about a single hop Sriracha?
No. most of the time, yes, but no. Again, I don't think that's going to happen.
Quiet House Podcast. Thank you very much for the super chat and for the support. Just a big plug for my newish podcast project, but Patreon supporter and long-time fan. Tell us about the project. Tell us a bit more about Quiet House Podcast. I can see it's a mixed firm beer podcast.
Yeah, the mixed firm beer podcast. That sounds exciting.
We'd love to have a chat with you. Tell us about that podcast, and we'll put this up on the screen as well. So give us what's the word? Elevator pitch, and we'll pop that up. Thank you very much for the support. Just going back up. We've just answered the yeast question. Can you tell us where the Cambridge Taproom will be?
It's if you know Cambridge, it's on King Street, right opposite the Cambridge. Oh, what's it called? Cambridge Brew House, I think it's called. So if you're in the centre of Cambridge, near the market, it's just northwest of there by 100 yards. Sorry, northeast of there by 100 yards. But yeah, King Street's cool because it's got a few other pubs on it, and it's got another craft beer bar at the other end of the road. So we're hoping it will turn it into a bit of a beer mile. It's going to be the next Bermondsey.
The next Bermondsey, you heard it first. If everything goes well, what kind of rough timelines are there?
It'd be pretty we're aiming for end of the year, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's like a carcass inside. We're going to have to fit it out. It's big as well. It's quite a big bar. We're aiming to have sort of 20 taps, maybe 5 permanent Baron lines, and then 15 guest beers. We also, everyone says this when they open a bar, but we want it to be like the best. We want it to be an amazing, like absolutely top tier, no filler stuff, like just amazing beer. Because there are lots of bars in Cambridge that sell a really good range of sort of 5, 6, 7% local beer, but we want to be able to pick stuff from all over the world that really excites us. So hopefully it will be a little mecca for beer in Cambridge. I don't know if it will. Again, I'm all nervous to talk about it because we don't know. We might get shut down before it gets off the ground, but it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Fingers crossed. And if you need marketing support, just let us know. We will shout about it from the rooftops.
Thank you.
Kevin Payne asks, any plans for growing the brewery if demand outgrows current production? Sorry.
No, not really. I might have to buy another tank if the bar in Cambridge picks up, because I probably won't be able to keep up with like a house bar, and then supplying the UK. But at the moment, I'm in a luxury position of being all the beer sells out very fast, so I could probably make more beer and sell more beer, but I don't really want to do it because I think my shoulders give out from all the mashing in. But it works well at this scale, and I plan on keeping it high demand, small volume, really.
I'll have you out on canning days if
You're very welcome to. But I don't think I'll call you up on that.
Andy, what breweries do you have penciled in for Keep Cask Alive too? So we have many breweries. There'll be lots of trips involved. Off the top of my head, the ones I can remember are sort of almost confirmed would be Kirkstall, 5 Points, Batham's, Fuller's, I'm missing. Who am I missing? Timothy Taylor's, maybe Harvey's. We're now into the people we haven't approached, but we'd love to film at. Attic have been mentioned. Sarah Hughes have been mentioned. Lots of like people that are really well known for very specific styles. There might be an episode that will involve Bunderbust. We're being super fucking ambitious with this in terms of the places we want to go and the range of the places we want to go, but also the diversity within those places, to try and show, this sort of belief that we have, which is that cask ale is kind of the lifeblood of British pubs. Even if we've only got 1 or 2 lines, a lot of the reason why people come to your pubs is because somebody in that group wants to drink cask ale and doesn't want to drink tinnies at home. And so we're going to try and show that and show the power that cask ale has in the industry, whether you kind of drink it or not to some extent. Very open to suggestions. I put out a call on Twitter today because we're looking for a brewery that makes amazing, like dark, robust bitters. So like ESB or Old Hooky or Old Peculiar, those kind of beers. So if you know somebody that makes a great version of that, not amber, but like dark. I got so many answers of like amber ales. I want like, properly dark, or like Black Sheep's ale and stuff like that. Not going to go to Black Sheep for obvious reasons, but that kind of style, we're looking for that. And we're still trying to fill that roster. Niche question. How much shit malt does Jack use?
It's normally like 7% bag, about a bag per batch. So if it's 10, could be 10%. But I think it's definitely improved the head retention, but it makes the haze much more stable. I don't know. I changed so many variables, so it's hard to know if one thing is doing it on its own. But I certainly noticed when I use chit, I basically use chit in every hazy, and it. Also, don't pay too much attention to the recommended dosage amounts from all the from the maltsters, because I've used Chit way more than it recommends, and it's been great. So it's a good guide. But I think if you can get hold of some Chit and use it 10% in a hazy, it does really well. It's almost like using a bag of wheat in its properties. It's such an unusual thing. I found. Don't know if that's true. Again, from my experience, not. I haven't done any scientific research.
Do a Chit selection, right? So you got Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chit Happens, Chitty Dinner, Chits and Gravy,
Christmas
Dog
beer,
Chit.
Bob Hatchett.
Yep.
Yeah,
Love
there we go. I think we
I
did
like
that.
this.
Oh,
I like
I
this.
missed by one. Sorry. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
Your fave weast for a Vesti.
Actually, well, I've just done a Westie that is with duration that is out probably next week, and I used a Kvike, the high voltage that Johnny's been playing with in the Brudio, and it turned out really nice. I just had a can of it earlier today, and it's tasting really good. So yeah, high voltage Kvike works really nicely. It's a WHC high voltage. I've also I've used LAX, which works okay, and USO5 works okay. I have done a one with WHC saturated, but it didn't clear up very well, so I'd avoid anything too hazy. You're on the Goldilocks.
I've just cracked the Goldilocks.
It's probably in peak condition at the moment because it takes about a month for that sort of level of hopping to calm down. It is
real. I'm getting like oily orange skin, almost like Negroni or old fashioned vibes from it.
Wow.
Really sticky citrus.
There's a lot of hops in that beer from all over the place.
So that was that sort of a logical kind of necessity given the concept. You're like, oh right, so all these have to go in now. And then you're trying to make that.
Yeah, I used, so every beer before each one of the previous beers had 3 different hops from each country, and then Goldilocks had 2 of my favorite 2 hops from each of those. So it's got 6 different hops: 2 Aussie, 2 New Zealand, 2 American. Maybe I'll do an English. I haven't done anything with English hops for 2 years, so maybe it's time that I do something like that.
Which was the next question.
That is, oh my god. How do I do it? I can read minds.
So have you brewed anything with like the modern English hop, like in a modern style? Have you tried that?
No, I've been very close to doing like a Harlequin or Olicana or Jester sort of IPA. I got so close that I snipped open some bags and was about to do it, and then I chickened out. I don't know. I think there's promise, but I think at the moment, it from an educational point of view, I think the brewers who drink my beers would be like, this is cool. But I think the market in general would be like, this beer is not very nice compared to his normal stuff. Just because it's a shame that we're not there yet with our hops in the UK, but it's not even a contest at the moment. It might be there soon, but they smell nice in their own way, but they're just too unusual when we're so used to amazing American and Kiwi and Aussie hops. So I don't know. You've done some stuff like that.
We've brewed extensively and done lots of films with them, and I would say that when we've brewed, I think I've got a now IPA to hand, but we were brewing those beers at 6 or 7 grams per liter, and it was coming out very nicely and was nuanced and had fruity character. I've tried lots of beers where they've brewed, like, say, a New England IPA with Harlequin and Olicana and stuff, and other flavors have come out as a result of doubling those dry hops. And I think that we're probably 1 or 2 generations from having some really special modern style hops coming out, and a generation in hops is maybe 5 years tops. So hopefully, and obviously Harlequin, the last one they released was 20 2019, I think. So I think possibly, this year is the year, or next year is when something that comes out that makes people go, wow, okay, this one. And I think Harlequin was very nearly there. And as a sister hop to some American or Australian or New Zealand ones, it can really work. The single hop, 16 grams, 21 grams per litre stuff, it's not there yet, but hopefully it will be.
For sure. I think it's probably perfect in hoppy cask or
exactly
nuanced,
that.
reasonable drinks. But when you're trying to make a double IPA that's ridiculously unbalanced, then it's probably not. It's not quite there yet. But
but it will get there. Just through narrowing down the genetics of it. Right, we need to pick up the speed of our answers so we get through as many as possible. Dog's Dinner asks, where do your ideas for recipes come from? Is it new ingredients or other people's recipes?
A real mix, but probably a mix of those two things is the easiest way of. I see stuff from other people that is exciting, or exciting new ingredients. And honestly, it's sometimes you look at what beers you've got available and you're like, I need to fill some gaps. If I've got loads of strong stuff, you're like, I need to make some beers that are actually sessionable. So I'm going to brew some, and it's safe to, at the moment for me, it's safe to brew a 5% hazy. I know it's going to sell. It's brave to make a dark lager because I know it's not going to sell. But it's a mixture of being excited for a new recipe, excited for new ingredients, but also I need to make this work for my pocket because I need to run a small brewery at the end of the day. I need to sell beer. But that's not a very romantic answer.
No, but it's true. And it's also, it's what people want to see when they walk into a tap room. You don't just want dippers. Realistically, you'll want some dippers. You'll want to try something silly like Goldilocks. But green fruit pastels are now coming out, which is usually Nelson Sauvin for me, as it warms a little bit. Puck Bobo, as a pro brewer, how would you approach making a lowish ABV 2 to 3.5% with regards to grist and hopping?
I have mashed in at 71 degrees C. Don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Was that about 160 or so? And chuck a couple of for 1,000 liters, I normally chuck in like 3 or 4 kilos of maltodextrin as well. Make sure there's loads of body. I want a final gravity of sort of 12 to 14, and I make sure there's plenty of bitterness. So I basically treat it like an IPA. I treat the final thing like an IPA, but the early side I treat like I'm making a weak beer, and I hop it high. So I'm normally like the ones I've done. So I haven't gone down as low as 2, but I've done 2.8. I think it's the lowest I've gone, and still like 11 grams a liter of dry hop. Because I just want it to taste. I want people to drink it. Actually, more than any other style, I want people to drink it and go, "Whoa, that tastes like a real beer," and not be like, "Oh, this is another watery, weak beer." I want it to be. I'm more excited for the releases of really weak beers than I am for the strong ones because I want that reaction of people going, "Oh, have you tried his 3% beer? It actually tastes really nice," instead of the opposite. I'd try and aim for a gravity above 10, final gravity. And make sure you mash it nice and hot. Add some maltodextrin. Don't add any lactose. No need for that. And and hop it high. Aim for a decent bitterness and decent hopping rate. And probably play it safe with your hops, just because it's already going to struggle to give enough flavour. So put some big names in there and take the hit on. It's going to cost quite a lot of money to make not very much booze, but it will taste good.
There you go. Great answer. Lots of questions I'd have off the back of that, but we'll keep going. How did you up working with WHC? I mean, lots of people are right now, but how did you come across them?
I don't know if that's the same WHC.
Oh, is it a different WHC maybe?
Well, Wicklow Hops Company sounds very different. So I don't think the
WHC Lab.
Sorry, WHC Lab is a company. Is a yeast company I think they're based in Ireland that I use, but Wicklow Hops Company sounds way more exciting.
Well, I think we're getting the same thing. Maybe they rebranded or did a little twist. If you put Wicklow Hops Company, Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Weird. Why are they so yeast focused? If that's their name.
Maybe
Maybe
Dara
changing
can explain how they came up with that name and then end up where they are. Maybe they started in a different mold or.
Interesting.
know.
I got probably just found it from other brewers who recommended using their yeast and used it, and I thought it tasted very nice, and it's relatively reasonably priced. So I started using it, and it was working well.
Okay. Michael, we addressed this earlier. Sadly, nowhere at the moment, but Jack hopes when we finally work out what the fuck Brexit is about, we might start to improve on that. What's your favourite hop? Come on, Jack. Gun to your head.
That's so hard. I'd probably say Nelson. But we all know it's Sabro deep down. Nelson's probably the hop that I think is most incredible flavour.
Thanks for showing the nerdy bits on the camera. Would you consider sharing one of your recipes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could we share the board shorts one?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's very much. I could put it on the screen if anyone wants to screenshot it. It's not very exciting.
Let's give that a go. Yeah, let's do it.
Is this a copyright infringement on Craft Beer Channel?
No.
I do it very slowly, but it's my recipe sheets are a bit of a mess. But where are we?
Oh, I think it's
actually
just about too low res to read it.
Yeah, not going to work.
We'll if you photo that sheet, I'll stick it in our Discord forum, and everyone will
enhance it, Johnny, like in the movies. I enhanced a photo yesterday from the 1920s with a Photoshop feature called Super Enhance. And then I colored it with AI. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Nothing
Everybody
to
go check out this pod. Sounds great.
Yeah, it does sound great.
Right, what have we got? We've got 8 minutes to get through the last of the questions. Andy Topham says, will you do Cask or will you faux Cask? He's on the Goldilocks.
I'd faux some Cask, yeah. Some Cask. I don't know. I'd love to do Cask. I keep toying with the idea of getting a cask washer and some casks because people are basically giving those things away. But it's just hard. Because I make such a small amount of beer, it's hard to make enough cask for it to make sense for the business. But I do love cask, and I've done more cask brewing in my past than anything else. And maybe if Johnny and Brad and their keep cask alive thing really, maybe it will keep me alive and I'll have a new lease of life. Maybe one day.
Oh, could happen.
Like
great shout, Andy. Maybe we should be doing that. Yeah. Taproom. I don't know whether you get through enough beer on your taproom days, but I guess that would be the obvious start to.
Yeah, it could be just filling a couple of pins and then having it on the ball on the side. Yeah, it would be cool. I don't know whether I would go sort of Verdant style trad cask or whether I would do hoppy stuff in cask. I haven't really made my mind up with that. I don't know. What would you do?
I mean, I'd want to see Jack take everything he's learned from modern brewing and apply it to trad styles. So maybe I remember Siren? Or maybe maybe it was Cloudwater right at the start did a Vermont ESB. So they used WHC Sanders or whatever it would have been back then, and had a really fucking juicy but caramelty big 5.5% cask, and it was super good. And obviously, that was James, who was head brewer back then, who also has a big cask background at Marble and stuff, so he knew what he was doing. But I'd like to see that kind of traditional recipes but modern interpretations would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Like that.
You can buy this in the tap room, right, Jack? People are asking.
you got one of the very last ones. I've got some on order. They take a while. But yeah,
okay.
If you want that literal hat, Craft Beer
find
Tunnel will sell it to you.
We'll arm wrestle for it. I tell you what, if you want this literal hat, I'm going to be at Stonehenge on the summer solstice. I'll see you there. We won't have a fight. We'll have a hug. We'll take our shoes off, get amongst the stones. We could have a craft meetup at Stonehenge if anyone's up for it.
All the Baron hats meet at the stones.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that'd be a magical thing.
Yeah, but I will be at Stonehenge on the summer solstice if anyone wants to join me. I'm not. It's not a cult, but I am going to be at Stonehenge on the solstice.
No one's going to die, but some might.
That is so culty.
Stuart, what music do you blast while you're brewing?
Only Steely Dan. Nothing.
I was going to say it was yacht rock when we were there.
Yeah, we just Steely Dan, and sometimes if I'm making anything with Vienna in it, I end up putting Vienna by Billy Joel on because it's in my head. But otherwise, Steely Dan and Billy Joel. That's all I listen to.
Ed asked, for someone just getting into homebrew, what was the one thing you did that made the biggest difference to your beer?
Oh my God, that's an amazing question. Since being here, the biggest thing I did was work out how the water works. But it's really daunting when you start looking at water chemistry because it's just suddenly so confusing and there are so many terms and you don't know what's going on. But if you can buy some Ashbeck or some cheap low mineral water and try and work it out from there, I think it makes enough of a difference that it's exciting. Maybe on a homebrew level it doesn't. Also, an enzyme that I think all homebrewers would benefit from is ALDC. If you're making hoppy beers, it's so hard to stop weird byproduct off flavors from dry hopping that ALDC does take some of the risk out, particularly hop creep, diacetyl issues. And my friends who homebrew who started using it have just noticed a huge difference. I use it in all of my beers. It's just I use even on a massive, well, not massive, on 1,000 liters scale, I use 40 milliliters, so like a big shot's worth, and it just stops the diacetyl issue. Well, it lowers it massively, so that makes a huge. And I think you can get it at homebrew scale. Do you use it at homebrew scale?
No, I don't actually. But you're not the first pro brewer that said it's amazing. I've never. It's
just belt and braces, and if you've probably got a sophisticated system. Or actually, you keg all your stuff pretty much, don't you? You don't bottle it.
Yeah, most of it, and then we have a process that helps supposedly with hop creepers, but it's still worth having. Yeah, I think that's a great tip. I think water chemistry 100 unless I'm brewing a dark beer, because I live 30 minutes from Jack. So I have the same water source. Buying bottled water, you can go to Sainsbury's or whatever and buy bag-in-box of water, so it's 10 liters, so it doesn't feel so wasteful as tossing in endless bottles. That's a game changer. From a really basic point of view, temperature control of the fermentation, not just so that you know exactly what temperature you're fermenting, but if you can cold crash it, that can make a big difference. So when I got the brew fridge, which I did only when we did the first lockdown homebrews, that changed everything. The ability to cold crash and just crash everything out just makes your beer immediately 10-15% better, because all the stuff you don't want in there is suddenly gone, and it's an entirely natural process. So bottled water, fridge control, and different chemicals that might belt and braces it can really make a big difference, I think.
I'd also say a lot of when I was homebrewing years ago was focused so much on recipe development, but actually the process is so much more important than recipes. Do a really straightforward recipe of just one grain and citra, for example, and if you get your process nailed, it'll be delicious. You don't need to do a crazy recipe with loads of different things. You can keep it really straightforward, But if you just work on that process, it'll be a delicious beer.
Amen. Yeah, process is the key. Everyone asks us for the recipes, but it's the processes really that turn a crappy Citra Mosaic beer into a really great one. You cold storing your cans?
Yep, I built a cold store in the next barn that's sort of 40 foot long and about 12 foot wide, 15 foot wide, and it's just everything goes into there straight after it's packaged, and then a week after it's packaged, I put it on sale, pretty much, depending on the strength.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You don't love sour beer, do you, Jack?
It's not my thing. It's not my game. I've never brewed a sour beer, and I intend to keep it that way. It just doesn't. I think it's a mixture of nature and nurture, but everyone I am related to hates the sourness sensation, and we therefore have never had it as kids. And I can just about appreciate amazing sour beer, but I still am just always it's just too much for me. Maybe I'll grow up and I'll get there one day.
Maybe you're a super taster.
Maybe. I think maybe I'm just like, maybe. I think it's just not for me. And I think I know that I'm quite happy to leave that to the professionals, because I don't think I'd make a very good job of it, because I'm just not exposed to it very much, because I don't choose it.
What's your dream collab and what would you brew? Goodness me, that's like blind date, that one.
That's such a hard question.
I'd like to put my what's her name? Yeah. What's your dream collab and what would you brew?
Where are you from? Oh God, I don't know. I've been so lucky that I've done amazing collabs with some of my favorite breweries. I'd love to do one with Daya. They were definitely an early influence of mine. Hey, Daya. But no, I don't know. It'd also be really cool to do something on the complete other end of the spectrum, and maybe it would be cool to do a sour beer as a collab. I'd done a sour beer with Pastore at theirs, which was really nice. But yeah, I just struggle with sourness.
What about going back to McCullen's and going, hey? Enough said.
I really love them all. They're such lovely people, but maybe our interests are in different places.
Ketchum, we did address this. So the water is pretty much from the tap, but it's RO, so reverse osmosis, osmosized. There must be a word for that.
Yeah, exactly. The water. Most breweries don't use one because they don't need to, but I was having to use an awful lot of acid to get my temperature, to get my pHs where I wanted them. So I put it through a machine which takes out all of the stuff. So when you drink it, when it's completely got nothing in it, it tastes really weird. It's like a vacuum of everything. It's very unusual. It's like drinking a black hole. And then I add back salts, and then it starts tasting. You just build the profile up to exactly what you want. So this beer, on the back of the cans, the chlorides are like 300 and above, and the sulfates are really low, because that accentuates the sort of fluffy, full-bodied side. It's fine tuning for beer, but it's the bit that you do when you've run out of things to fine tune. I was like, I need to get my water sorted. So yeah, but it's not. You can make good beer without worrying too much about your water, but it's a way of making it even better.
Mm-hmm. If you could drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Landlord.
Not even a hesitation there.
No.
That's a great beer.
Respect. Money knows his mind.
Thank you very much.
And it's a cask beer. I
love cask beer. Yeah.
Sorry, no. I mean, I said that because you should be doing cask beer. You should be doing some cask beer at the Taproom. Ben from the podcast Film Busters asks, "What's your favorite film of all time?"
School of Rock. It's probably the best film. I don't think anyone can argue with that. It's absolutely faultless. School of Rock.
If you watch it and don't love it, you're wrong. That's for sure.
This is brilliant.
Wow. No hesitation. We need more of these questions that most people hesitate immediately on. Jack is a man who knows his mind.
No, I know my stuff with that sort of question. School of Rock's the best. Changed my life.
Here's a question. Why can no one make a good low 0% beer?
Oh, wow, so subjective. I don't know, Johnny. Both of you are way more qualified to answer this than I am.
I mean, I have opinions as to why. I don't know whether they're facts, but I mean, firstly, you lose the body. Alcohol has body. The amount of sugar that goes in and is left has body. Alcohol is a great flavor extractor. So if you have alcohol in a beer and you have flavor in the beer, it will absorb that. So it's why you vanilla extract is made by adding alcohol to vanilla, and the alcohol extracts that flavor, and then you have a vanilla extract, right? So you need alcohol to get all the flavor out of the ingredients that you're using. So that's why fermentation is a powerful thing, because it extracts flavor. If you don't ever have that, you might never get that. And then, well, no, I mean, those are kind of the main reasons I can think of. It's an exceptionally hard thing to do. And obviously, if you have almost no fermentation character, flavor, less malt character, less hops, it depends on the process you're using to make low alcohol. You then can't throw in lots of things to get more flavor. So, 3% beer with 11 grams per liter could work. A 0% beer with 11 grams per liter, I'm not 100% sure that could work. So you can't throw as much at it to make it really pop, I guess. So everything has to be lowered to make that balance. Agree, disagree? Something to add, Jack?
No, I thought that was a fantastic answer. I'd never thought of the alcohol extraction like that. So that's really cool. It's... I find that the bigger breweries that have got a big budget to throw at alcohol, low alcohol, make a really good job of it in general. I really like the alcohol-free ghost ships. I think it's really good. I like Zero Guinness as well. It's really. I know it's not the same thing, but it's a nice drink. But no, I can't come up with a decent answer for that. There might be ways. I keep getting adverts on Instagram for people who have we've created beer that gives you a buzz without having any alcohol in it. I'm like, I haven't tried any of that.
Have you had the mushroom one recently with lions eating mushrooms and stuff?
No,
with active something or other going on. No, I just keep getting served this advert. I've been talking to Johnny about it this week about making a video about these kind of like alternative things to beer that are sort of marketing themselves as beer, but haven't got any alcohol in them. They're not brewed in the same sort of way as a beer, or have any of the ingredients in that a beer might have.
Some of them are like gluten-free, alcohol-free. Like, well, what is it?
And all of these people who create these businesses, they're not brewers. They're like they're guys who've been sitting at a desk, and they're like, "How are we going to make a business? We need to create beer without any alcohol in it." And they've never been in a brewery before in their lives, and they must think that all us brewers just sit around. None of these ideas have ever come across our heads. Like that there's I don't know how many thousand brewers in the UK in the world who are constantly thinking about this, but they just need a couple of cool dudes in London in shirts to be like, we need to make alcohol-free beer that tastes good and has a buzz. Somebody
just enough fucking VC thrown at it, and it'll happen.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
It's I mean, I think it's the Imposter Brew guy. If you go to the brewery Instagram, the pinned post is him giving a TED talk. It's like, fuck, okay, I
think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Is that is it Dragon's Den turned him down as well? Is he the guy that makes like a
Yeah,
big
he's got
thing
this
about-
quote from one of the dragons saying, "You're the most credible 24-year-old we've had in here." And then it says, "We didn't get the money from Dragon's Den." And you're like, did you mishear credible? Yeah, I mean, I think we need to do a video on it. I also want to do, and we've talked about this, Brad, doing a video on, Jeremy Clarkson's beer, Elon Musk's beer, Conor McGregor's beer, which I've got a 4-pack of, 3-pack of now, because it was in the stout video. There's a lot of fun to be had in people that have never been in breweries having a go, and sometimes they might get it right, but I haven't had one yet. Actually, I'm fairly certain that Jeremy Clarkson's beer will be good because Cotswold Brewing are a fucking good brewery. So I hope they're doing it right. Maybe. Well, actually, I fell out with James May on Twitter about 2 weeks ago. I was going to say maybe we could we could ask Jeremy how he's putting his grain into the beer legally, but maybe not. Yeah. Anyway, we have run out of questions. It is now 10:25. 10:25, gentlemen.
Bedtime.
It's 10:26 in Lewisham. I don't know.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
it's those longitudes bringing us right back round to the start. Different longitudes. Right, Jack. It's been an absolute pleasure brewing with you, getting to know you, doing this live show. Thank you so much.
It's lovely to meet you both. Properly.
Honestly, Baron is one of my favorite breweries. Where's it gone? Sure Short is one of my favorite beers of this year. I think it's brilliant, and really, that's all down to you and the processes you've put in place, as we've been saying. So, thank you for having us, and thank you for being part of this. And thank you to everybody in the comments as well for being here.
Thank you. Well, now we just have to wait for the craft beer channel to open their own brewery, and that's surely on the cards any day. It's just the next step.
The final point, and both Brad and I walked away from that brew day with you, in which you talked about it. That whole, as I was filming that, and you and Brad were chatting, and you were like, I think of it as like a pottery studio, where I make what I want to make. And I was listening to that going, I'm being sold by this spiel. So I know that Brad in his brain is just seeing the Matrix now going, this is how the craft beer channel gets a brewery.
It's a perfect platform. Everyone knows you, and it's and you know more about brewing than anyone else who starts a brewery. So it's bound to work.
Maybe I need to do a Harriet Watt course first.
Kickstarter, mate. Kickstarter 2025.
Perfect. I'll be there. I'll be investing.
I'm laughing, but I said I'd never do a festival, and then I said I'd never do it again. So who knows what's fucking possible? Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Jack. Thank you so much. I hope that Trousers Dipper will happen maybe in 2025. And until then, everybody keep supporting your local brewery. Keep supporting Baron. He's making fantastic beer there on his own.
Keep supporting each other as well. We've had some comments saying they've had a good night and they felt very included. So I appreciate that. We're all here. We're all together.
Yeah. And we apologize for not doing more live shows. We hope to do more this year and have that connection with you guys and within the comments as well. So yeah, we're back. Normal upload next week with Burnt Mill, and our podcast will be back as well. So we'll see you then. Until then, love 'em.
Love 'em, everyone.